My last television show ever. I gathered 3 of my favorite chefs. We created a dish for each of you. Now, this isn't any ordinary meal. It was actually created back in Scotland. I have Alexis Rocha, and I've allocated him to you, Freddie. Freddie Lightburn is a culinarian from Nassau, the Bahamas. That's where he was born. And as a very young man, he started working in his uncle's restaurant, and he has become one of the greatest restaurateurs in the world. Alexis was one of my students, and he became very, very vibrant, one of the greatest chefs in Grand Rapids.
Chef, your beaches are beautiful there. A little bit different from mine back at home, but beautiful.
I remember your beaches very well. I remember coming to Nassau for the first time and being astounded by the beaches. But I always thought the similarity was striking.
Very, very similar. Not the hills, but
no,
still very
not
similar.
the hills. The hills are a little different, and the rocks, the cliffs. I remember walking into the restaurant for the first time. It was pretty amazing to meet you there.
Yeah.
At the poop deck.
You were complaining about the beer being too cold.
That's
and
right.
I said, most people complain about the beer being too warm.
I know. Well, I just come from Scotland, you know, I was just an island boy. I drank warm beer. But you know, I remember getting my first conch, cracked conch, at the poop deck when you brought it out.
Yeah.
And you gave me the hot pepper. Remember?
I do.
I never really had pepper in my culinary world until then.
It showed when you got very red.
Yes,
very, very red.
But from then on, I realized what it did to the food.
Yeah.
It just brightened everything up.
I like to say it wakes it up.
It wakes it up, yeah.
Gives it a intense, makes all the flavors nice and intense.
It's wonderful to have you back on the island.
It's great to be here. I've been looking forward to it. I love the weather.
The weather's perfect, man.
Yeah.
Just a little liquid sunshine.
Liquid sunshine. Yeah.
So Freddie, the dish you're going to create for Alexis, my former student, he's really a nice, young, creative chef.
Well, you know, here in Stornoway and here at the dock, we've got all these beautiful fishing vessels. I bet you they got some great fresh catch that we could find something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we look at the market and see what we can find?
Do it island style and maybe put some of that crowley on it, because when I tried it last night, it gave me some wonderful ideas.
Let's see what we can figure out.
Let's do it.
House that we moved to from Braga, it always has been a home that has been full of people, and the hospitality in that house always amazed me, and I think that's where I got it from, especially my mother and my father, and of course my sister Peggy, who's just a wonderful person.
Found some interesting sea trout. Looks really, really good.
Wow.
I think it's marrying the flavor of the fish with different styles of cooking, because this is not necessarily typical Western part, more sauteing the vegetables, more from the East. And now we're putting flavors from both worlds together, and that's where a lot of the food is going today.
One of the things that Alexis is really good at is creating dishes that are very modern. I think he's going to love how simple and how clean this is.
Now this trout, you know, the guys caught it today. It's been skinned, it's been deboned, sauteed, a little bit of fresh cracked pepper, a little bit of sea salt on there. We're going to put a little bit of the vegetables that we sauteed down. Here we go. Right over
Oh, that's
there.
beautiful color.
Put a little more here.
This looks really bright and colorful and really...
You know, it's going to excite the senses just looking at it.
I think so.
Now,
So tell me about this, Crowdy, why you think it's...
this is, you know, I was just recently introduced to this, and with the oil that I'm getting out of the fish, with the flavor we're going to get from the vegetables, with the flavor we're going to get from the sea salt, I think this is going to go fantastic. So we're just going to put a dollop right there. Perfect.
And your final component.
It's a beet, ginger, island pepper.
A reduction.
Perfect.
There we have this plate. Well, I'm really excited to make this for him to see what he thinks.
I think there's so much flavor in there when he puts on his mouth, he's gonna go, wow.
So this dish was created for you by Freddie Lightburn. While in Scotland, we got some fresh sea trout.
It's incredible.
And then the crowdie is a simple cheese that's made in the island where you take milk and curdle it and take the curds and add the top of the cream that's just been milked off the cow and left to set on the top. And it's called crowdie.
So just the simple composition of how the cheese is made just takes me back to first day of class. Chef Angus brought us all in the room and he glares at us and says, "I can smell the fear in this room." Everything that Angus had produced, there's always a purpose. We talk about mise en place all the time in class. Carries through just life in general, being prepared for anything, being on time, you know, waking up the kids in the morning, having everything ready for them. It's like just having a plan for everything and having a place for everything.
Hi, I'm Chef Olowski, and this is CA 105 Skill Development. The one reason we bring in all the fish is for you to first see what the price is all about. And the second thing is this something I want to do? The idea is, if I'm going to sell 30 of these a day, I better be pretty darn good at what I'm doing. So maybe a little bit more stuffing in there, a little bit of butter over the top, and finish it off in the oven. Just cut it so it goes, so you're under the skin. Good, nice. Okay, so we're going to cut some pieces here, and we'll roll one up in the banana leaf. All right? Take your knife and come right up through here like you're trimming this up. Yeah, all this part's going to come off right there. Yeah. Go girl. All right, beautiful. We'll let our salt fish sit here and then we'll crack it open. You could do this with a tenderloin. You could cook it pork like we've done pork before. Again, for your private home chefers, this is a great thing. Use some of those seasoning salts that we had with all the little stuff, because then you're gonna get that, wow, that little wham of salt. Help yourself, gang.